How to plan your week as a management consultant. Hi everyone, my name is Johannes and welcome to this channel. Welcome to Mastering Consulting. On this channel I want to share my own learnings and experiences from my own current journey in management consulting to help you to become successful in consulting while also living a balanced life. And if you're new to this channel, then please subscribe to it. Also leave a thumb up. This will help you that you don't miss any new video here on this channel. And today we will talk about how to plan your week as a management consultant. So the thing is that your planning is very important. I figured out that I could save a lot of time during the work week if I took some time to actively plan my week. And today I want to share 5 tips with you on how I plan my week, and maybe this is something that helps you. So tip number 1 that I can give you is that you plan time for the planning itself and that you try to make it a routine. So I always compare planning the week with sharpening your axe. So if you want to cut a tree, the question is, how much time would you spend sharpening your axe versus actually cutting the tree? And you probably know that sharpening your axe is a very, very important part. And there is also a saying that every minute you plan can save you an hour in a week. So those are some basic principles that I also see, and this is also based on my experience. I can totally confirm that proper planning prevents poor performance. So prepare your week. This is very important. I would say that you should reserve at least 1 hour per week to actively plan your week and prepare your week. This is just a rough guideline. If I have more busy weeks, I plan probably some more time, and sometimes if my week is not very busy, then it maybe is even less, but an hour should be a rough benchmark for you to see if this is sufficient. I also highly recommend to make it a routine. So take or select a fixed date. So maybe it's Friday evening, maybe it's Monday morning, maybe it's somewhere in the weekend. It doesn't matter, but it really helps to have one certain day or one certain time slot where you do your planning. Also, I recommend to create a kind of frame. So this helped me because, if you're busy the entire week and you have to prepare on or work on some very important project work, and also on the weekend, if you have some leisure time going on, then, the planning is typically the things that get deprioritized. So I also highly recommend to create a kind of frame. So for example, that maybe your weekly planning is the last thing that you do before you leave the office on Friday. Or maybe you take a Saturday and make it a habit to go to a cafe and sit at a coffee shop and sit down, just relax and take an hour to plan. What I did was that I usually did it after, or still do it actually, after my sports routine. So if I go to gym, afterwards I go to the spa, and there I typically spend an hour to plan my week. Some people also do it during traveling. So I know some colleagues who do their weekly planning on Monday morning before they travel, or on Friday if they fly back. So this is typically also something that I recommend, that you actively plan time, create a slot, and also create a frame that helps you to stick with your planning routine. So then the planning usually starts, at least how I do it, with setting very clear goals. So what I do is that I think about, okay, what are my goals for this week? What do I really want to achieve? And here it's very important to not only think about your professional goals, so your goals regarding the project, it's also important to include some private goals, okay? So as you know, I have my private categories like, spirituality and relaxing, health, relationships, and finances. Those are the 4 most important ones. And I also think about, okay, do I have some goals here in my private sector? And of course, all my business goals. So I write them down. What I do after that is that I prioritize them, because you have to prioritize in order to get things done, because during the week there will happen some unexpected things, and then it's very important to be able to focus on the important things. So I like to categorize my goals in A goals, B goals, and C goals. So A goals, those are really a must. So those are goals that I have to complete. This is really that there is no discussion. Those are the important goals. And I really try to only select like 2 or 3 really A goals, because those are the most important ones. And I have to do them no matter what. After that come the B goals. So those are a couple of more goals, still more important goals, but if I don't achieve them, this doesn't have a really big impact. So I still have some flexibility there. And then I also have some C goals. So those are goals, where I say, okay, if I have some time, if I have, if I'm creative at some point and want to do something else, then I can work on those goals as well. So make it a habit to also prioritize. Very important. The tools that I use for this first step to think about what my goals are and to prioritize is basically, just very simple. It's just Apple Notes or Google Drive. That's what I currently use. So it's just, a spreadsheet, a document, a text document where I write down all the goals. The next thing that I do is that I derive concrete to-dos. Okay, so after setting clear goals, what I want to achieve in a week, I sit down and say, okay, what are the concrete to-dos that I have to do in order to achieve those goals? And I make just a list. So it depends on what kind of tool you use. I personally, for my to-dos, use a app called Todoist. I use this for a couple of years, so I got very used to it. And I just write it down. I think it's very important, of course, to prioritize again. Here I use the Eisenhower matrix. So this means that I distinguish between urgent and important goals or to-dos. And also, this is very important, estimate the time that I need for that to do. Okay, this gives me an idea of, how much time it should take to get this goal, this to-do done. And this really helps if you plan those tasks in your schedule. As I said, what I use is Todoist, but you can use any other tool as well. You can just make a list for your to-dos. It doesn't matter, but you have to have a to-do management tool. I think this is kind of obvious. So after I wrote down my to-dos, it's time to create my schedule. So what I first do is that I open my calendar app and I check for all the important meetings. Okay, so typically, those are already scheduled. If I still have to schedule some, I do that. After that, I schedule my traveling. Okay, I see, okay, where can I, or what time do I fly to the project? What time do I return? Is there some other traveling involved? So this is usually the second thing that I schedule. After that, I schedule my routine activities. So for example, my sports routines, and my morning routine, evening routine, all of that stuff, okay? And after that, as a fourth step, I plan my to-dos in my calendar, okay? What I use for that is I use Google Calendar for that. So for my work schedule, I have Outlook, obviously. And for my to-dos, I have Google Calendar. The reason why I have two separate calendars is because I don't want to have my to-dos in my Outlook, because, if people want to make an appointment with me, they need to see, what time I'm available, and I don't want to see, have all of my to-dos in the calendar. So that's why I have separate calendars. Be aware, you have to use a sync program that kind of is able, to sync those two calendars. And this is what I do, okay? So this is the third step, that you actively create your schedule. And after that, and this is probably one of the most important ones, and I cannot emphasize enough how important that is that you do the last step, and this is that you reflect every week. And I do that together with the planning. So usually every Saturday after my workout, if I'm in this bar, I plan my week, but before that, I reflect on the previous week. And there are some questions that I try to answer for myself. So it's first, which kind of goals did I achieve, and which kind of goals didn't I achieve? This is very simple, just check the goals off. What I also did is that I asked myself 3 questions. So the first question is, what went really well? So, in order to create a positive mindset, you should focus on the positive things during your week. So that's the first thing I usually write down. So I write down, okay, what was really great about that week? The second question that I ask myself, so what do I want to make better? So maybe if, I discovered something that, I can improve, I write that down as well. Okay, so those are the concrete things that I want to do better in the future. And the third question is, what did I learn? So maybe there was something that was new to me. This also helps me to kind of, reflect about my learnings of the week, and I also write that down. I typically just do it in bullets. So again, I use just a text document where I write down all the goals for the week. Also the reflection, it's just in bullet format, so very easy to use and no big administration effort. So again, just to summarize, so the first tip is that you actively plan time and make it a routine. The second tip is that you first set very clear goals for the week. Keep in mind to prioritize. After that, you derive your to-dos. Make sure to plan estimate how much time you need for that. Then you create your schedule, okay? So you actively plan your calendar, and don't forget to reflect at the end. So those are my tips, or how I plan my week. Of course, I'm interested how you do it. So if you have other tips that you want to share, please leave it in the comments below. Also, if this brought value to you, then please subscribe to this channel. Also leave a thumb up. This will really help to grow the channel. And with that being said, I hope you have a very successful day and also week, and hope to talk to you soon. Goodbye, Johannes.